And, you know, there aren't a huge number of people that...
I can imagine.
You know, because I'd be very interested to hear how you, as a sculptor and a practical person, you would go about, if you were to be tasked with doing that in the field, what would your approach be?
I looked at it, and when I walked in with an open mind, and I looked at it and thought, okay, how would I do it? And I thought, even if I went in one direction, it doesn't work, because then the other lines come across. And you take an example, is when you have the very, very thin corn just standing on its own. I mean, to get it coming in from about a foot, solid chunk, I mean, to keep it that exact would be practically impossible. And yet it's perfectly flat either side. And sculpture, you get these wedges. I mean, carving something, you know, is difficult enough. But you imagine the way that the machine has sewn it is in lines, but these lines are going across at an angle.
Yeah.
So not only, so you can't just say, oh, well, someone's just followed the way the drill has worked, and the tractor's pulled the drill,
yes.
And it's grown that way, and you put a pattern in. No, you've got to take that idea, that doesn't work, that's out of your head completely.
Yes.
So then you've got to look at it and say, okay, taking that out, how would you do it so you could keep exactly right on that angle and turn and keep that shape? And bearing in mind, you can't even look at it from above.
Yeah, got no reference, you can't.
No reference.
No.
So I don't see how you can do it. I mean, you know, something has to come from somewhere, because there's no way you can draw that on the ground. You couldn't put a stencil out, and you couldn't say, I've got some MDF board and I'm going to mark it out with pegs, and then I'm going to work from that peg to peg. So do a template and say, okay, I'm going to take this enormous template, so I'm going to... But it doesn't work to that effect, because it's all those two outer bands. The way one works with inside the other,
yes.
And then the star shape comes off it. Well, you couldn't do that, because you just couldn't measure it out. I mean, how would you know that the diameter of your band is correct for your star to work? I mean, there's too many things that just don't add up. If I was drawing it on a piece of paper with a ruler and measuring it, you know, even trying to replicate that on a mural, say, you know, taking it on a piece of saying, right, okay, let's try and draw it back out on a wall. It's still difficult to get it exact. You know, after seeing it now and walking it, I now know there's one band within another band, and that space there is a similar space to the size of the chunks there. So there's a few things that do seem to sort of work out. But even taking that as being rough geometry, it still doesn't give you the answer of how someone did it, or how it happened. It's just mind-blowing. In there's definitely an energy of something. There's definitely something, and you walk around it. It's amazing. And you touch the corn, and it's perfect. The ears of wheat are untouched. They are, you know, you'd expect them to be crushed. You'd expect them to be damaged. They're not. They're perfect. Extraordinary.
So there you'll be telling your friends about this then?
I've already told one.
Have you?
Bringing his kids, because I'd probably bring mine. I mean, you know, it's extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed.
I will.
Perhaps if you go up and have your lunch.
That's right, yeah. Just...
Yes, move it.
Så kan du ta den hitåt?
Hallå!
Tack.
Han vill ha med skylten.
Äldre människor behöver sitta.
Final impression about what you think of the crop circles.
So yeah, I remember I mentioned this to you earlier. Tell us what you thought about the crop circles.
Well, they're really cool and quite like weird. And
include my question in the answer.
Well, the craft circles are like, I don't know, it's kind of confusing about how it's done, and it's really intriguing. It's quite cool to go and see them. This is our first time seeing them and being in them. Yeah, I've always been fascinated by them, so it's really cool to come and see them first time. Yeah, really cool. Gonna tell my friends that, they'll be jealous.
Brilliant.
Are you happy?
Great.
All right. Well, we just need to get on-screen consent that you guys are both happy to show this on the One Show. So just tell us your names and then say, I'm happy for this to be shown on the One Show.
We're
My
happy
website?
for this to be on your video on your website.
Oh,
We're happy
That's
for
Core
this to be
Group,
on your video.
Core Group Initiative.
Yeah, what's it called?
Core Group Initiative.
Cool group initiative.
Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. Thank you.
There's a little trick when we do an interview that you need to try and answer with a full sentence so that we can cut me out completely, which is rude.
I know you've already had a chat to Paul, but if you can walk down as if you haven't met him yet, and then Paul will just go through a few of the motions. We'll just do a few minutes of that, and then we'll let you crack on. Okay. Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you. And guys, when you come in.
We'll have that ready for you when you come out.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
I like your T-shirt.
Yeah, it's like a big symbol there, isn't it?
What does it mean?
Does it have the meaning?
It's just the number 33.
Oh!
But the trees are out the wrong way.
That's weekend.
Yeah, all of us.
Eh?
Very,
You got a lovely smile. Okay.
This crops up, can you see this one? Yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. So this arrived this morning, it's absolutely stunning. However, the farmer has cut it from the field.
He probably got offered 10,000 pounds or something to wipe it over, just keep people off his land.
Well, whatever his reasons, the most common reason is that farmers are absolutely fed up with trespass on their land and people making money and tours and other things, and they don't necessarily see an alternative. This farmer was the same, but finally we've negotiated access to this crop circle for the first time.
Nice.
Because they finally see that actually turning it from a negative into a positive, because it's already happened.
Yeah.
This one's already happened, he's gone and defaced it, whereas that could have raised £4,000 to £6,000 for charity.
And that happened this morning or yesterday?
Happened this morning.
That's excellent. Right on our visit.
So
we would ask him for that.
it would have been amazing to see. It's just down the road from our house as well. And
How do y'all
that's
find
a
out
shame.
about when they
such
do
a shame.
one?
I mean, it's so stunning.
It's beautiful.
Y'all must
Do you
do
fly drones around all the time to find them?
Well, we don't, but there are people that do, or people who fly over on like aircraft looking for these things. But often, you know, as is the case here, it's next to a hill, as these are. So there are people who walk or cycle or drive, in this case, in the local area, and they spot it, and then they report it.
Perfect.
But we've lost this one, sadly.
Yeah.
But you know, our job is to try and negotiate with farmers to make sure that they still remain. And our agreement with the farmers, we'll give our time freely. We'll look after the place. We'll direct people, give them the information, and the farmer nominates a charity, and then we collect on the farmer's behalf for that charity. So the farmer can feel very good because they're involved and there's something positive come out of it.
It's an energy
And we will be
exchange.
talking to this farmer again, and hopefully in subsequent years maybe he'll change his mind.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea you guys got, because this needs to be preserved, because the world's changing and our mentalities are changing and people are reaching out to try to speak with us, and we need to be open to it.
That's exactly right. Now that's a little leaflet about who we are, and also on the back of there's a website for Core Group Initiative. That's our website, and that just gives you additional research and information on the subject.
And do
Well
you
worth
say
reading.
you have a website too? We can
Yeah, it's that one there, Core Group Initiative.
Excellent.
So have a look at those. Now the farmer has requested a donation per adult for the formation. It's £3, or if you want to see both, it's £5. So that's it. And every single penny goes to charity. In this case, it's not relevant for you guys, but it's for a radiotherapy unit in a local hospital.
Even if it went to the farmer's personal pocket charity, it's still worth it. You know what I mean?
Well, I understand what
It's
you're
his
saying.
land and all that, but it's
Indeed,
fine.
if it meant retaining the circle, if it meant
Preserving
if the
that.
farmer decided to keep all the money, but preserve that, that would probably still be worth it.
Exactly.
But we're trying to make it be positive all round.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's a beautiful thing that you guys
Thank you very much. How many people are you paying for?
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're doing 4 people. You're doing both circles.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Could I just ask you, you notice I'm just taking a video here, it's a promotion video for all that we're doing. Do you have any objections, any of you, to having yourselves in this video?
No, not at
You're
all.
quite happy. It's a very positive... And here's another good example of energy leak. Still standing crop along a tram line with laid crop on either side. Probability anomaly on a curve. You see it quite clearly. Yeah, there it is. Crop on a tram line always seems to be retarded against the maturity of the main row, the main crop. Along the line of the tram line. Now, you would imagine that if people had been tasked to do this, they wouldn't leave random areas of still standing crop. They'd flatten it all. But here we have, and this is a common feature, I've observed this for years. Here we have a line, albeit it's a bit untidy at the minute because people have been moving around, but there it is. That's still standing crop. I call that a probability anomaly. In all probability, that should not be there. If we work from the basis that this was a human instigated event, which I don't. You've asked yourself that question already. Well, you're very...
Maybe of the tractor track. Is that a reason, maybe?
Yeah, that could well be it. It's associated with the tractor track, but one would imagine that if we look from a human perspective of somebody coming along and flattening this with, say, a board, you would expect that bit in front of you to be flattened as well, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not. I call that energy leak. It's what I call a probability anomaly. In all probability, it should not be there. If we're looking at this, or we're trying to rule out the human the wholesale node bending that we observed on day one doesn't seem to have changed its status particularly. They're still bent at the same angle. Some evidence of split edging here. There's still standing crop with laid crop behind on the edge. Going along, there's another bit, and another bit still. Split edging, well, that's what I call it anyway. The node bending in this formation is particularly prominent right on the edge. Well, just arrived with James to this new formation up at Broad Hinton. Just doing a recce basically to see whether we can do anything with it, but the signs are quite promising, so let's go and have a closer look. Wow. Evidence of energy leak. Have a look towards the centre. Beautiful.
Very neatly laid, isn't it?
It's what?
Very neatly laid.
It's very neatly and consistently laid. I call this of machine-like quality. Yeah. Any special features in the middle? Oh, there's a little standing...
Like David. Are David
No.
Stooks still there?
What?
Are David Stooks still there?
Yeah, but they're a bit ruffled.
Yeah.
Yes, a single standing tuft surrounded by three triangles. So it's probably going to be a threefold geometry we've got here. Yeah, very nice. I like this. I think the dog does too.
It will be cropped because there's quite a lot of it knocked down.
It'll be what?
Quite a lot of it is flattened.
Flattened.
Percentage-wise of the area.
Yeah.
From the distance it didn't look as though it was.
Do you think this will be hard to scoop up?
It stays dry, but it does depend on if people don't walk on it, you'll harvest much more of it than if you keep people off it. He would harvest because this is only about a week, 10 days away from being harvested, which is incredibly early.
Week or 10 days, yeah. Does that apply to the other one?
David's is slightly greener than this, isn't it?
Right.
So his will be a fraction longer.
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking, I think last time we were talking about bunnies, weren't we?
Yes, yeah. Catching a few in there.
Have you had a few?
No, we have not today, we haven't.
Oh, you haven't had any bunnies
We
today?
haven't seen any today.
Oh, well that's...
It's quite hot, isn't it? I think they'll be in the grass.
Oh, they'll be sheltering over there under the trees. Yeah. You can just see the outline of the patches of the circles. Yeah. What's the theory behind this one? Well, it's a theory. I don't know.
They depict something, don't they?
Well, this is it's the first of 3 to date. Of pentagonal five-pointed star formations. This was only here. This is composed of 4 sets of five-pointed stars, and this was here for something over a week. And all of a sudden, we get this one just over the road, which again is just one. This time, it's just one five-pointed star. Or pentagon. So it seems it would be of the same family, as we say. And then a couple of days ago we had the third member of the pentagon family at Martinsell Hill. It was unquestionably a mysterious event. The geometry was utterly sublime, complex, and it was what we call a fractalisation of the primary pattern, which was a pentagon, five-pointed star. And there were just lots and lots more, getting smaller and smaller. and that formation unfortunately was lost to the farmer, who currently is not harmonising with You can find your way across the field.
Yes?
Yeah, go
like
on.
that?
Yeah. If you go wrong, I'll tell you.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
And this is the one who is buried?
Yes.
Can I take a photo of that?
Yes, of course you can, yeah.
To have an idea. Ah, voilà.
It's over by the golden. Oh, you're not French. You're the group leader of this French group.
Yes.
What is your name?
Umberto.
Umberto. Many people will be wondering why you took all these people into an empty field with no crop circle in it.
Yeah, because we know that the energy is there, and we are here to give more. We have a work. We had to do that.
So you give it more energy.
For that reason, we pray there in the middle of that one, meditation and song, and we see the energy coming up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
A pleasure. Au revoir. Briefly about why you wanted to go into the field.
Yes, I can. We have made the experience that the energy in the field is very high. We have visited a field 7 years ago. There was a crop circle, and the information of the energy was still there. So I think that the information is maybe in the sand or in the silicate, I don't know, but it is conserved. And if you are sensitive, if you are sensitive, yes, then you can feel it, and it informs you for a special aspect of spiritual life.
I see.
It's I've read about 180 crop circles, each of them totally different, and takes a very new information for the human species to get out of the crisis and to grow up the consciousness and the spirit level get much more higher.
You're going in there and you're having a spiritual experience,
yes,
but by being on the site of a crop circle, albeit now harvested, you're getting like a download of information which gives you some extra knowledge.
Extra knowledge, yes.
Or
his experiences.
It's my experience. The informations of the 180 crop circles sind wohlwollend. Wie kann man das sagen?
They like us. They are good to us.
They are good to us. Yes.
They're good to us. Yes.
They give information.
They want to support human being. Yes. They want to support. Yes.
I believe that.
Yes.
I believe the crop circle creators are benign, and they are interested in helping us.
Yes. Interested in helping us. Yes. That's it.
Rather than hurting us.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. That's really good. Thank you.